And this is Ken Kreitzer for CBSI Services. I have a chance to visit the offices of the Business Council of Westchester and chat with their CEO, Marsha Gordon, who's a good friend also from WVOX Radio in New Rochelle. And Marsha, great to visit today. You do great work on WVOX and with the Business Council of Westchester. Maybe tell us a little bit about it.
Well, it's great to see you, Ken, and I love having you in my office. When I see you, usually we're in the WVOX studios with me ending and you starting, and we do a quick shuffle there. But the Business Council, so to have you here at the Business Council is very exciting, and we represent businesses in Westchester County, and so our goal is really to create a county and a region where there's economic prosperity for everybody. And so that means working with our members who range from the major corporations to MasterCard and PepsiCo, to major institutions, the colleges and the hospitals, to over 100 not-for-profits and many, many small businesses, which of course make up the bulk of the economy. And so our job is really to create the environment where members can interact with each other, can create business relationships, can develop prosperity for their business, profitability for their business. And while doing that, we're working on a strategic level to develop prosperity for the entire county and the entire region and the state. And that's really about economic development. It's about positive public policy. It's about workforce development and education and young people. So we create the environment on a strategic level for businesses to grow, and then we create the opportunities for businesses to connect with one another to make that happen.
Very good. I know you've been doing this for about 15 years. How did you get started? I know you were working upstate a little bit before this.
I've had my career in the Hudson Valley. I ran business organizations in Dutchess County and Orange County. I actually ran a transportation organization in the Hudson Valley and Fairfield County, Connecticut, and probably how I got to be known as the transportation guru in business, and really advocated for the Tappan Zee Bridge, the building of the Tappan Zee Bridge, and public transportation as well. And so I've really run business organizations, but my dream was always to be in Westchester. I always saw Westchester as the best county in New York State and the region for business to grow. We have everything here.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things I wanted to have a chance to get together with you on is a recent trip that you took to Cuba. And I know that was with an educational group, but that's certainly an area, a country, certainly with the president's recent visit, that everyone is looking at for, what is the business opportunity there. First, just what was the experience like for you to go to Cuba?
Well, we wanted to go to Cuba, and we took 30 people from the Business Council to Cuba on what they call a people-to-people cultural exchange. And we really wanted to see Cuba now. The doors have just opened. It was thrilling to see when the president went that we said we were there and we were there and we were there. We kind of paved the way for him. But it's an amazing place to see because we know it's going to change so much. The American doors have just opened. We're assuming that trade is already starting to open up, and to see this country, which is really a third world country, made us very proud to be Americans, realize how important our democracy is and our democratic process. But to see this country that has kind of been in a cocoon, and when you hear about the cars, the first thing you notice when you get off are all of the old cars. And so, so that's pretty amazing. We spent most of our time in Havana. We did go up into the mountains and saw where the cigars were being made, and that's very beautiful. And we met a lot of the people who are doing what we would call here more not-for-profit, community-based organization work, where, for example, there was a barbershop, and a lot of these businesses are in people's homes. So this barbershop was in someone's home, and they had all of the old-fashioned barber paraphernalia. And what they did is they trained people in the community, including several deaf people, because that's a very good trade. It's a trade, and so people that are handicapped, that are hard of hearing, do become barbers. And so they've really utilized this as a way to then collect money and build a playground for the children. We met artists who sell their art. We all spent a lot of money in Cuba. We were a good group from Westchester who supported the Cuban economy. And so the money that they make from selling their prints was used to develop senior citizen programs. So there was a lot of music programs, a lot of art programs, a lot of these kinds of opportunities to meet with Cuban people who are being encouraged to do community-based organizations. And surprisingly, and I was very pleased to see that being here in the Hudson Valley, a very large farm-to-table movement in terms of the restaurants. We had some wonderful food. We ate in one place it was like Blue Hill Stone Barn. It was on the farm, and and the animals were there, and the vegetables were there, and the food was awesome. It was very fresh and very delicious.
Well, we've heard about how many Cubans are able to run businesses out of their homes, restaurants, and as you described, ones that you visited. What were the accommodations like? I know there aren't too many modern hotels, and communications it was a little limited. What was that like for you?
Well, we stayed in a Miramar Hotel. It was a 4-star hotel. It was certainly not quite what we're used to, but the rooms were clean. They were tile floors. The hallways and the furniture needed some work. What I noticed most was the service, and this was interesting because when we called from the hotel to the front desk, it wasn't picked up as quickly as it is in the large chains that we're used to. So the service wasn't there in the same way. The food wasn't there, and the food options weren't there in the same way. There was a nice pool, by the way. It was cool when we went to Havana, believe it or not. But there was a nice pool, but it wasn't the resort-oriented pools. And of course, Americans are not allowed to go to the beaches and the resorts yet, so we didn't experience that kind of experience of being on a beautiful island, with the beautiful resorts and beaches, though I'm told that they do exist.
Well, certainly a lot of things happening. I understand there will be flights into Cuba very soon. Cruise ships are making plans to take trips to around the island of Cuba. What would you say are some of the opportunity areas? I'm sure you were there thinking, gosh, there's some opportunities for hotels and for communications, internet improvements, cell phones. What were some of the opportunities there that you might have seen that American companies will probably be doing proposals on?
Well, the Cuban people don't have a lot of cell phones because they've made it so expensive. So you do see phone booths in the street. There are opportunities. I know that Dr. Leonard Schleifer went to Cuba with Governor Cuomo, Regeneron, to talk about biotech. There's a big biotech industry. There's, because of the way the economy is set up, the medical industry is their biggest export. So a lot of their trained physicians and lab persons and technicians are going out to the United States. So there's just tremendous opportunity all around, certainly cars, because those cars have to break down, but at a certain point and be unfixable. But I want to say that the Cuban people did not, seem to have good lives. You don't see hungry people out. You don't see homeless people out. Everyone gets fed. I wouldn't want to live in their homes. Their homes are pretty dilapidated. I'd been to China before. I've been to other communist countries where you do get that sense of, yes, it's a communist government, but there's an economy going on, an entrepreneurial economy. You see a lot of building. People want to get to live in better homes. The Cubans, when they're born, they know they're going to live with their family in 3 generations in kind of an old, dumpy house. and so you don't see that movement. I think that once the Cubans get access to see what's outside through the internet, which is now controlled, they're going to want different things.
Absolutely. Was there a real highlight moment of the trip for you, a special moment or story about the trip you like to tell?
I think what was so exciting was seeing some of the customs. Yes, drinking mojitos was fun. Going to the Tropicana was a thrill because we've all seen pictures of, movies, The Godfather, of people, at the Tropicana, and it's very much like that. You're sitting under the lights, you're seeing the Latin dancers. It's great fun. And experiencing some of the music and the dancing we did salsa lessons, and so experiencing that with the Cuban people and with each other was a really highlight, was a real highlight of the trip.
Well, that's neat. It sounds like you had a great experience. I know there's a lot of Americans that will be looking forward to traveling to Cuba to have that same experience coming up very soon.
And the Business Council is planning another trip in January, so if anyone's interested, they should definitely contact us.
Very good. I know you have a couple of events. I think you have a dinner coming up this month. Maybe if you could just tell us about some of your upcoming events here at the Business Council of Westchester.
Thank you. Well, we have our big Hall of Fame dinner on April 19th, where we honor 6 businesses in Westchester County who are the excellent ones in their categories, and so we're very pleased about that. We're also in the process of nominating. We'll be announcing our Rising Stars, our 40 under 40. We are very committed at the Business Council to creating Westchester as a place where our millennials, where our young people have wonderful careers and can grow their careers in their business. And so our 40 under 40 is a terrific event.
That's great. Marsha Gordon, President, CEO of the Business Council of Westchester. Great to see you.
Great to have you here, Ken. Thanks so much.
My pleasure. This is Ken Kreitzer in Harrison, New York for CBSI Services.